telecommunications industry is best understood through looking at its value chain, which contains 5 main components: infrastructure and platform vendor, device vendor, operator, over-the-top content provider, and retailer and distributor. OTT refers to audio, video, and other media transmitted across internet as a standalone product, that is, without an operator of multiple cable or direct broadcast satellite television systems. It can be broadly divided into OTT TV, messaging, voice calling. It's been the major disruptive force for the industry, shifting share of revenue by different parts of the value chain by reshaping demand scenarios. Call durations halved from 2005 to 2012 in the US. Customers are increasingly focused on data. Media and video was less than 10% of the traffic in 2010. It's almost 50% in 2015. Mobile devices are now the leading computing platform, which complemented the rise of OTT. OTT now accounts for 10% of the revenue of the industry, while it's barely there just 10 years ago. Many markets have shifted to tiered usage-based pricing for mobile data as compared to the previously unlimited data plans. The ever-increasing demand for data has driven up the capital expenditure and maintained it at high levels for a sustained period. There has been downward pressure in return on invested capital as a result of multiple factors, from regulated price reductions to cannibalization of legacy revenues like tax and calls by OTTs, along with high capital intensity required to support demand for data. Telecommunications is a heavily regulated sector, and industry leaders are highly sensitive to uncertainties that may undermine incentives to invest. As mobile data traffic continues to grow in all geographies, spectrum remains the lifeblood of the sector, and spectrum release and auction frameworks will be a leading regulatory issue over the next 3 years. Just a little bit of background on spectrum release. Waves of different frequencies and wavelengths serve different purposes. Low-frequency radio waves are ideal for traveling across long distances, while high-frequency transmissions carry more data but are poorer at penetrating objects. Spectrum relates to the frequencies allocated to the mobile industry and other sectors for communication over the airwaves. National regulatory authorities allocate and license appropriate spectrum slices to the services and sectors that need it, maximizing the value generated by this finite resource. Its auction framework affects its affordability and accessibility to operators, directly affecting their capacity and cost of providing services. Net neutrality is also an important regulatory concern in years to come. Net neutrality means internet providers should enable equal access to all content and applications regardless of its source, and without favoring or blocking particular products or websites. An example of non-neutrality is data throttling, such as restricting peer-to-peer file sharing data flow to mitigate network congestion. Once it becomes official, operators can no longer restrict users' access to services provided by rivals. This has contentious status in a number of geographies, from the US to India, and is expected to level the playing field where operators and OTTs are subject to the same rules. Apart from spectrum release and net neutrality, data privacy and retention is also a significant regulatory concern, such as GDPR that will be effective in May 2018. Views on policy risks varied according to geography. For developed market operators, data privacy and protection ranked as a leading top 3 challenge, while spectrum release is more pertinent among emerging market operators.